What's going on, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Talking in Bits, where we walk you through Bitcoin bit by bit so we can provide you with the information you need to possibly get rich. We're here back for another episode 16. I'm here with Ben as always.
What's happening, bro?
Another good week.
Episode 16.
We just keep pushing them along, man. We get into that 3 touchdown range.
Yeah, man.
What we got? Well, hold on. We don't got the field goal yet. We got touchdown.
Almost.
We're almost there. We're almost 2 touchdowns in the field goal.
What's a 2-point? That's not a touchback.
That's a conversion.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not there yet. We passed that.
Yeah.
15. Yeah. So we got the 2-pointer. Anyways, I like to see it in football scores just because it's cool. How many times we Gronk spiked it?
Yeah, right.
6 times. But yeah, another good week in Bitcoin. In the last episode, we were talking about just the sovereign state, right? Yeah. And like you said, both of us have read The Sovereign Individual. Mm-hmm. Fantastic book. Long book.
For me, it took a while to get really interesting.
I kind of was the opposite. Super interested, and then I kind of started to fade. I was like, all right.
Totally opposite.
Yeah.
I'm more than halfway through, and I'm like, oh, this dude's killing it, chapter after chapter. It's interesting.
I think I'm distracted because I want to read other stuff, though.
Yeah.
But I'm not one of those, I call them book prostitutes. I don't even know if that's a real thing. Around. Yeah, I try to finish it. It's weird.
Yeah,
it's
I'm the same way, too.
Yeah.
On Audible, I can finish everything. With physical books, I tend to not finish them.
Yeah, but this one on Audible, you listen sped up.
I'm probably 1.5, 1.75.
It's
a little hard to do.
I got 1.3.
This book at 2.
Okay. It was a 19-hour book, and with 1.3, I think it went down to about 16 hours.
Yeah, not bad.
So you had a little faster than that, probably a 14-hour read, probably.
Yeah.
It's a big one, but this guy nails a lot of stuff in the head. And in the last episode when we finished, we were talking about, you were talking about sovereign states.
Yeah.
And you want to talk more about the sovereign states?
Yeah, just, life as you know it. China, America, London, or Europe, right? All these places are their own sovereign states. They make the rules. They make the laws. They send people to prison. They, take everything you own. They tax you to death. They tax you at death. And this whole idea that we'll have nations that rule over us in the future will be gone. And in the future, we will be a part of a sovereign nation, and it will be people who share your ideals and your values and your beliefs. And so there'll be, this Bitcoin nation state. And we'll physically live wherever it is most tax advantageous for us to live.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So if the Bahamas is 0% income tax, why don't I live there if I can work from online?
Yeah.
And avoid this. I was talking to someone earlier. They said my W-2 paycheck takes 30% taxes out of my job.
That's crazy.
I make $140,000, but what do you think I make after tax?
Not much.
It's bro.
Yeah, they tax you. Like you said, at your death, they tax you to transfer to your loved ones.
Literally.
You
can't do that with Bitcoin.
You can't do that with Bitcoin. And the sovereign state in itself, because like you said, if you move, let's say, to a territory, right, that like you said, rose with the way you kind of live your life and your philosophies, then you could overcome the stuff that it's not gonna get thrown in your face. Like you don't have to pay taxes for other people that ain't doing nothing because your peers around you wouldn't be doing that. The only thing I really think that's not going to work for humanity and why I think it'll always lead to volatility in humans is not because I don't think that's a cool idea, but because humans have this thing where, you when you get deep in the echo chamber, you don't hear anything outside of it. Yeah. So imagine being in a complete state where people completely like you. You wouldn't understand the people outside of your state. Yeah. You wouldn't even bother to, right? And that's crippling to humans because last time I checked, us humans were around for other humans, not necessarily the same ones as us. Mm-hmm. So when you take that whole aspect of humanity being, cohesive and instead just being packs, I do agree with you because I read the book and I do think it's going to end up being just tribes, just a bunch of people being the same or whatever. But my argument is that that's flawed and that's a problem and it's just going to lead to volatility and war. Just because of that, because when you're in the echo chamber, you're not going to understand the next state over or the next province over because you're so glued to people that are like you and so everything's going to be foreign to you. And people get a lot of exposure to different things nowadays in their normal life and can't handle it. Mm-hmm. Never mind if you haven't seen it for 10 years and then you go to the next day and you're just like, whoa. Yeah. That's a little bit dangerous, but you're right. That's where it's headed to. And there's a lot of benefits for it. The tax ones that you stated, living comfortably, being motivated, right? Because if you're motivated by your fellow man, right?
Yeah. Countries will enable people to, you think about capitalism and what capitalism did, and then you think of what restrains capitalism right now: high taxes, authoritative governments.
Yeah.
when they're all in competition to retain more citizens and they stop becoming so authoritative and they stop taxing us so much.
Yeah.
You know, at every point, you know, when you buy food, you're getting taxed, or when you make purchases, you're taxed. You're taxed, you know, before your check comes to you. You're taxed again
when you spend it.
When you spend it, like they find so many ways to just take from you. Like the current administration's talking about, oh, we're gonna implement like a toll tax for people who drive a lot.
Yeah,
it's like, fam, I'm on the road, spring to December. Like,
y'all don't want me to do nothing.
So, like, at what point do we say, like, yo, we're not down with you stealing our wealth?
It's a balance. But I think at some point, it doesn't have to be that if black or white, if and. Like, y'all let me do this or not. I think it just becomes a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, y'all let me, I'll just go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like you were just saying with the kids in the basketball.
Yeah.
It ain't until we put y'all on Front Street that y'all gonna make some moves.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, is that a lot of people, whatever side, capitalistic side or the contrary, are always under that, like, nah, you either 100% or you just vote with your feet.
Yeah.
Just vote with your feet.
Yeah.
And I think we'll see more of that. And we're seeing it, right? The Floridas of the world, the Texases of the world. Mm-hmm. You just vote with your feet. Whereas like, okay, well, they're going to let me do what I want to do. Yeah. I'm going to go over there. And then I think that opens up everything for more sovereignty, because now we can choose. We can vote with our feet. And that leads to less volatility, because then if Jose wants to stick around with a diverse crowd, like say like the city of Worcester, then I'm rolling with that. Yeah. But it doesn't mean I have to be with it, but I'm rolling with it. On the contrary, if I ain't with it, and I want to move with my feet, then I could get up and do so. And these states are going to turn into that, like an oversized arena, where it's like they're inviting you all the time, where you can do what you want to do, and it just becomes, instead of it like you need to live here, it's like you want to live here. That type of sovereign thing, and that's exciting, man. I mean, I hope it goes that way, and not the complete tribe mentality, hunting out here. Like if you see one of them, they go down type mentality, because that's going to be very strange. But Bitcoin solves all that. Well, the sovereignty of it, Bitcoin solves, because if the states go down, we're going to assume that the Fed goes down, right? The banks go down. Yeah. And then you have a big boost in this world now, because you have Bitcoin. You have this asset, this gold that you can trade. And I know the preppers that are listening are probably like, but what about the cows? And that's all tradable too. I'm with you. Yeah. But in this situation and in this podcast, the context we're talking about is being able to have your wealth carry over with you in this world where you don't know where you're going to live. I mean, you can wake up in Massachusetts one day and then be like, whoa, I'm going to go to Texas because they know what they're doing down there. And be able to bring that wealth with you and have no loopholes, not have Massachusetts or the Fed or anybody says, well, you can't travel with this money.
Think about this for a minute. 300 years ago, if you had 100 million, how would you move it?
300 years ago?
Yeah.
What was 100 mil 300 years ago? Gold
or resources?
Whatever. Yeah.
Like you just had probably
wagons, whatever it was, depending on what it was.
Like think about how much effort it would take for them to move 100 million.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
That's why it was valuable.
And then 200 years ago, and then 100 years ago, 50 years ago, and now it's like you can do this with a click of a button.
Right.
And there's no army that needs to secure 100 million across the world for you. It doesn't have to jump through 5 banks.
Is that what he was saying? He was talking about somewhere along that in the book, that type of thing, where you free up the money and you free up the currency, then taxes and these things are irrelevant because they won't succeed in that type of environment.
Yeah, and he talks about, if you go to the HSBC bank and you want to, deposit Bitcoin or buy Bitcoin and they're not letting you do that, then you just take your wealth and put it in a different bank.
Yep.
Right? And eventually, again, the same thing. You vote with your feet. You're voting with your wallet. You're voting with your bank. Which
will disarm authoritative, countries and everything, because it's like you're outnumbered at this point because now nobody's fucking with what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Right. So it becomes that type of scenario. That's a really good book.
Yeah.
It's a long ass freaking read. But he definitely goes through everything from finances to what the internet will be like. I think to what retail is going to be like. To he talks a little bit about COVID, quote unquote. This book was 92. It was written in this book.
Yeah.
So like these planned plagues and all that stuff. It's quite the doozy.
Ahead of his time.
Ahead of his time for sure. I see why it's a popular one.
I like that it's not like, oh, the Bible says this in the book of Revelation. That it's just like historical trends.
That's it.
And basically foresight into the future.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I agree with that 100% because when people, kind of pass off objective fact to just a no-brainer situation like faith or something like that, it's just hard to sell that argument to me. Me personally, I'm just an over-analytical dude. So when somebody starts to tell me something and then they probably end with that because it was foreshadowed by the Bible or whatever, or the Quran or anything, like I said, it's just weird to me. It's just like, well, that's not setting it in stone for me though. Like you didn't prove anything. Yeah. But yeah, if you, in this book, he's not doing that. You're right. He's just hitting you with history, things that happen. Shameless plug, but that's one of the chapters in the book was definitely in my book, which was definitely that. It was like, look, we don't need to, to pay for these Tony Robbins seminars and all this stuff. We can, that's cool. But understand that history has already given you everything you need plus more. And the best mentors for right and wrong and the virtues are going to be in the past, and you're going to be able to see this stuff. And that book was just an example of that. He was just, like you said, pointing obvious stuff from the past that's happened over again. I think it was Mark Twain that said, history doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. So he could have been throwing a dart at the board, and he was pretty accurate.
On the money,
yeah, he was pretty accurate. Pretty cool. So I don't even know what we got this week, man. We're kind of foreshadowing here. So for the listeners that don't know, we are recording 2 episodes a week, well, a few days before Coinbase goes public.
Yes, let's talk about predictions. What do you think's gonna happen?
On episode 15, guys, you're going to get most of the juicy stuff. This is going to be a freestyle episode. This is the second one. But yeah, we are 2 days away. Wednesday is when they're doing it. This is Monday. I don't even know the date. It doesn't matter. Yeah. What do you think is going to happen? I don't know much. This isn't my forte.
Yeah, so Coinbase is essentially like the largest American Bitcoin exchange. I mean, they're worth a lot of money right now. And usually with an IPO, when Facebook goes public, across 10 years, their stock goes up 1,000% or something. Yeah. So like, this is a really big company going public to the stock market. So people who maybe they're not comfortable buying Bitcoin, they can buy Coinbase stock knowing that Coinbase is going to invest in Bitcoin and hold more, hodl more Bitcoin. Right. So they're getting Bitcoin exposure through their stock asset. Maybe they have like a Roth IRA or a retirement fund, and they don't want to cash out their investment and buy Bitcoin because they think that's so risky, but they want to remanage their portfolio to add Coinbase so they have Bitcoin exposure. So I think this is just going to, add to the mass adoption. And I think we're going to see, I think already Coinbase's stock is worth more than the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ like combined. Really? It's massive. Wow. Yeah, it's massive. Jim Cramer's like, Bitcoin's a 1 trillion market right now, but it's going to be 2-3 trillion pretty soon. Now, is everybody assuming that they are going to buy Bitcoin? That's not a given though. They don't have to buy Bitcoin. No, I don't think people are. Even if they don't, they're still going to be massively profitable. Okay, I'm just trying to see the connection with how it helps Bitcoin. I know it helps them hugely. Yeah, I think they bought. I think they recorded like $1 billion in a quarter. Okay. Or maybe in 2020. I forget the exact number, but it was a really large amount of profit. On a large volume of transactions. So, I think hey, what other Bitcoin company can people buy stock of? True. I don't know. I'm not in that. That's not my forte. The mining space, they can buy Riot, and I think there's another one. Okay. So this will be the third one. That's not a mining company. Okay. And I think this move just solidifies more people buying directly through them. Through Coinbase Pro. So say, if Ford Motors wanted to buy Bitcoin, I think this just kind of like if Ford did do that through Coinbase after the stock offering, I think it just kind of de-risks buying corporate Bitcoin for your treasury on the company level. I see. You know what I'm saying? That's a different ballgame. I think that's interesting. I think this is going to add to the companies that are buying Bitcoin for their balance sheet. Yeah, I think, and then the average stock investor. Well, there's definitely a lot on not a lot on the line, but there's definitely a lot of buzz for what's about to happen. Yeah, like it's buzzing. I think the stock obviously will go up. Yeah, maybe it'll pump and come down, whatever. Yeah. But I think it's nothing but good news for Bitcoin, and I think we'll see some good price action to follow. That's what they're expecting, at least. Yeah. You talk about 10 candles. What is it? We'll see a $10,000 candle. That'd be great. Where the price goes from 61 to 71 within 4 hours. Please, it's just this. That'd be cool to watch. I mean, that was back at the Super Bowl. That's what it was. It was like not a 10K candle, but it was the price was moving.
It was insane. Yeah. That's what I'm happy about. I think it was in the last episode we talked about I talked about how the price doesn't really matter to me in a sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like impressive to watch. It's this thing is, and even talking to like the older guys, where I work and, they got their skin in the game. Like I still think they're treating it to behave like a stock. So even they're kind of like, what's happening? And I'm like, oh, this thing is a different type of monster. Yeah. So it's kind of exciting to watch. So yeah, to see it go from 61 to 71, although financially is great, I think it's just impressive. It's like watching Tom Brady do his thing. It's like it's just rare to see things like this, and I get a geek out of that.
I mean, with the internet, what were exciting things that happened first?
Well,
imagine being a developer.
To me, the whole landscape opened up when I was able to do like peer-to-peer like file swaps. Yeah, like music and like the Sopranos and like I had like a bunch of stuff going down. I think
what he means by that is that he was illegally downloading the Sopranos.
Allegedly, there's no proof of this being. But that's when the internet was like, whoa.
I had a relative who went to UMass Amherst who was using LimeWire. And they had a lawsuit.
Remember Kasai?
Yeah, they had a lawsuit. And because she was on UMass Amherst servers, they charged, she ended up having to pay like $2,000.
Yeah, I don't know if it's the season this is, but I definitely got a letter from Charter saying like, yo, y'all bugging. Cut it out. Yeah, like y'all bugging. Straight. You can't. So I didn't pay $2,000, thankfully, but yeah, I was downloading like all Sopranos episodes.
Think about the bootleggers who would they'd be the connect to download and burn those.
Yeah, not for nothing. The hustlers, man, the guys with the big EVs in the car, they would be like, yo, what's up? You got that bootleg? I got you all day. 10 bills. Make them copies. Boom. Allegedly.
Boom. I did the same thing with my mixtape in high school that I DJ'd.
Nice.
So I did that, and then it just kind of turned into, I'll get you that new Stack Bundles mixtape or that whatever. But I sold a ton of units of my own thing.
I was that guy. You got that new Jadakiss? Got it.
Yeah.
I got your copy. But having your own stuff, that's fire. Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. I still can't find a copy. It was on datpiff.com, but it's the file's not there anymore.
They flushed their servers out.
Yeah, man. If anybody has that, it was V12s don't get mad.
I bet you somebody got it. That's an NFT right there. Yeah.
See, that'd be fire, bro. Yeah, I can remember some of the layout.
What would you pay for your mixtape right now? Somebody was like, I got the last one. Be real.
I'd probably drop like 500.
Word?
No bull.
What if they upped it? Yo, give me a stack.
Maybe.
Yeah, y'all listen. You got a stack.
800 in Bitcoin.
Right, just see. I like that. Get paid in sats.
No, but it's just like one of those things. Like you create something in your life, and then you don't have it anymore. So what is that worth? You know,
a stack to you, apparently.
No, I'm just saying for anybody, right? Those memories, man.
It is important. Goes back to the whole scarcity source, right? Like we care about.
There's more than one of them, but at this point, if there's one out there, it's probably one. All right.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Scratch over time and
That's true. Depending on how many copies you made, How many people in that? Not for no disrespect. How many people chucked them? That can happen too.
Yeah, for sure.
They probably got crushed.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. But $1,000 if y'all listen. $850 Bitcoin. That's funny. All right. Well, listen. We didn't get to it in the last episode, but I know you wanted to talk about it. So the Trezor thing, the cold storage. Run that.
Yeah. So I saw a dude who was like, "Hey, I have a Trezor cold storage device," and they set it up and they only stored their seed phrase on, they wrote it down on a piece of paper.
Yep.
So he basically said that, they created it, they set it up, they only copied the seed phrase once or whatever. They only did it on pen and paper, so they didn't enter it into an email or phone or laptop. And basically he checked his account one day and it was at zero. Yeah. And so he was like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
And what he was saying was that someone got into his account somehow, he doesn't know. And they just basically, he looked up the wallet addresses or whatever, and he watched his funds go out in really small deposits.
Yeah.
So if it was a larger amount and it went to Binance or wherever, there would have been some form of verification to get it there and then to withdraw. But because it was done in tiny transactions.
Yeah.
There was no red flag to be kind of raised.
Yeah.
So I saw that and I'm like, dude, how did his cold storage get hacked if he never shared his seed phrase with anybody?
I don't know it is scary as hell. He didn't say how much, right? That he lost?
He didn't say the amount.
Yeah. It must have been a lie if he was writing about it.
Yeah. I think he was an early Bitcoin adopter.
All right. I got a question. Have you ever been in a situation where you or your boy did some stuff that was so stupid that when they retold the story, they had to lie about the whole thing?
For sure.
I think this is one of those things.
Yeah.
I think he screwed up big time. When you first asked me about it, I noticed the she. Yeah. He didn't really talk about it, so meaning he did it with somebody else, girlfriend. I don't know about you, but you don't have to be a genius to know that when things go sour with a girl or vice versa or whatever it is,
the gloves come off.
Anything can happen. He didn't speak much on the girl. He didn't speak on, nor should he. I don't care about his business. But my thing is there's something going on here. And even if he did everything to a T, that doesn't mean that she did.
Yeah.
And he didn't tell me if she said, whatever. She didn't give her side of the story.
Yeah.
What if she got fizzed on an email attempt? What if she tried to get into the wallet because she knew about it?
Yeah.
Obviously, he wanted her to know about this wallet because they did it together.
Right.
I think it's a very long shot that this was like a camera on a device or him saying it out loud. And although Trezor is one of the weaker, I say weaker because people will argue you up a T on security. I still think you need to know a lot about hardware wallets to hack it. It's not an easy hack, but they're vulnerable to this thing where somebody could basically hack your PIN on the device because of a fault on the chip, and then they could get in. Cold Card actually had this problem recently with a certain bootloader, and they were able to patch it, or they replaced the bootloader. I don't want to get into that tangent, but if a company cares about security, they do that.
Yeah.
They fix the problem, or they build upon really good security. Trezor is one of the first few in that space. So I think Trezor goes with Ledger in the sense that you have to do trade-offs. They're simple, but they're not the most securest of devices. But I still think this is a long shot. Hardware devices are pretty secure.
Yeah. This is the only story that I've seen like this. I've never seen anything like this.
I've heard some long ones there, but just like in every society, every hobby, I guess there's those bad stories. But I think he left out a lot in this story.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I'm paranoid, but it seemed like he was just that friend or you that was just making the story sound too good to be true. More of a victim instead of more like, damn, I screwed up.
Right.
Like I left that paper on that table. I don't even remember that, yo.
Yeah.
And now he wouldn't tell you that. He'll just tell you that, oh my gosh, like Trezor's fault. I noticed Trezor didn't even comment.
Yeah.
Nor do I don't see Trezor online a lot. I don't even know if they're one of the old first companies. I don't even know if they exist, to be honest. But yeah, I didn't even see anybody from Trezor or anybody get tagged or anything. I think people were just like trying to troubleshoot with him.
Yeah.
Like I think people were just saying like, hey, well, are you sure or whatever? And I didn't see anybody say, yep, that happened to me too.
Yeah.
Or yep, you should go to Trezor and complain. Or yep, you should swap the device. Or nothing. People were just like, because I think they felt the same vibe where it's like user error. Yeah. I think it smelled user error all over it. I don't know the individual. That sucks. Hopefully he had different wallets.
Right. Let's so when we talked about this earlier, I mentioned I like how certain exchanges, when you withdraw from them, they send you an email to confirm.
Right.
And so your withdrawal won't be complete until you go into your email and confirm. So in a case where you have a cold storage setup, would there be a way to set up something like that, like email confirmation?
I don't think so, because remember the anonymous factor goes away when you have to tie an email to it.
True.
I'm sure somebody could do something. I learned something really cool today that there's something called an OP return.
I saw that.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I think that's what maybe NFTs are doing it. And if they're not doing it, then Bitcoin is already doing it better.
Yeah.
But this is a way to put data inside of a block. Yeah. And what I think they could do with the email to make it more secure is maybe allow the hardware wallet to do one of these OP returns and be able to put maybe like the character forms of your email on a block, right? And then maybe the hardware wallet will be able to send you an email, but still keep it encrypted enough. That's just me shooting shit around.
That way you can get in with an email.
Well, at least correlate an email with a wallet.
Gotcha.
Right? Like in a secure way, like on the blockchain. And that's the only thing I could think about.
To then get that email when there's a withdrawal.
To sync it. But if everything's permanent on the block, how do you change the email? If you need to.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
That's what I mean. It hasn't been done for a reason, but that's why I don't think sending you an email would probably be a good idea. But I mentioned that Strike does that as well, or the bank that works with Strike. They send you an email when you withdraw to your bank and you cash out. They just don't do a good job of telling you that you expect an email to do this. So if you don't check your email, you're not getting the withdrawal.
Right.
But it is a cool security feature. There would just be no way that I can think of besides that OP return to be able to sync an email that they can send to you, be anonymous, and still, do that function or whatever. But these developers out here doing crazy stuff, especially with the layers on top of it, and consensus across the board is basically like we get to decide if we like it or not. I know people don't believe that, but as a node operator or as just somebody on the network, if you're not with it, you don't have to go with it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, if the majority go with it, you're forced to go with it. Yeah. But it's at least more than just your few guys, right? Like it's your fair share thing, and I think that's really cool. Back to the Trezor dude before we walk away from him. I think security is always super important when it comes to Bitcoin. I think it is very risky, and a lot of things could go wrong when people don't pay attention. And I still think we're early. So most people, the threat level is not high yet. Because even if you were to leave your seed phrases out, I'm sure the majority of the common folk will see that and just they'll probably think it's like your kid wrote a bunch of words down. Yeah. Like they're not tying that to Bitcoin or to wealth or to anything like that. But it's good to practice this now because the threat level is low. And you could do routine stuff like being paranoid and practice that stuff. Where do I hide it? Who do I tell in case I pass away, right? How do I put my seeds in a place where people can find it? How do I, do it safely in case, my house burns down? And I think these are things that are far-fetched and people maybe be thinking, but you can't replace the Bitcoin you get. We know that. And if you try to replace it, you're not going to get it at the price you bought it at. By the way, I was looking at an early receipt from November, and I put 2 stacks at 17,039 cents. I mean, no, $39.
Dope.
I guess that was the lowest I entered or whatever. And I was like, I thought it was 18. I kept telling people when you go back in, I was like 18, 19. Yeah. 17. Early 17. Bro. That's exciting. But anyways.
I've looked through mine too.
Yeah, it's interesting when you go back and see like your patterns and stuff. I don't know if you look at that stuff.
Yeah,
but
I do.
My patterns are weird.
And I'm kicking myself like, why didn't I buy more, bro?
Conviction. And that's okay. Yeah.
Back at that point, I was trading options.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of my cash wrapped in that, and that's what I was doing like day to day.
Gotcha. Yeah. See, that was in my ballgame.
At a loss.
I was just learning. Yeah. And falling in love with the tech. I think that was when I was trying to learn to do a node because I jumped into a node really early. I learned about hardware wallets really quick, and then I went into nodes right away. It was I bumped into a really good gentleman. Shout out to him if he's listening. He doesn't like to be doxxed, so I won't dox him. Yeah. He kind of was like, hey man, I'm doing this lightning thing, you should check it out. I followed his little thing and I went down that rabbit hole. So but yeah, my patterns were weird early on with buying, and I make it sound like I was in it very early. This was back in November, but doesn't it feel like 100 years ago?
Long time ago, man. Yeah, long time ago. So much is happening. I mean, so much is happening week to week that it seems like a long time ago. Because that's true. The whole Michael Saylor thing, where there are, years where nothing happens, and then there are weeks when years happen. Yeah, that's what's going on in the Bitcoin space right now.
I agree with you. Yeah. It's just insane. It's moving at 1,000. Yeah, it just feels like a while, but it's a tribute to how fast this thing can change your life.
Absolutely.
And from what we are seeing, it hasn't even started yet.
Yeah, no,
that's crazy.
One of the memes I think I'd sent or I retweeted was that we're at 0.01 Bitcoin adoption, where I think it's 7 million. We have that here actually. Yep. 7 million people have access. Yeah. Or not have access, but 7 million people have Bitcoin right now in a world of 7 billion.
That's
so what happens when 70 million people have it? Do we go from 1 trillion market cap to 10 trillion?
Yeah.
And we beat Gold, Apple, and every other company at that point, which gives us a 10x price of $500,000.
And that's still on the low.
And that's still on the low. And it's crazy to think about if this continues to, change the world as it is, it's going to be the biggest gold rush we've seen, man.
But it is, man. Yeah. And that's the thing. I don't know if it was because we've been recording for so long. I don't know if it was last episode, but I know you were basically hitting along that line where it's
5 years out.
Yeah, 5 years out. It's incredible to think about what's about to happen. I didn't think I would ever see anything like this happening. But when these software developers, back to the sovereign individual, when software breaks the walls down of traditional stuff,
and engineers,
we can do stuff fast, and we can do it in these crazy forms because we could talk about Bitcoin and being, like gold or whatever, but gold wasn't really useful for anything.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people that are going to argue that one. But when we talk about Lightning Layer and we talk about, Oracle multisig.
Gold was good for a few things, Right. Store value. If you add coins, you could transact.
But it wasn't
coins.
useful.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So you could use it in a few things, but like when you look at Bitcoin, again, with what you're saying, with layers built on top of it, it's going to be able to do everything.
Right. So my point is why are we comparing this to gold?
Yeah.
I don't think it's even the same thing. I don't even think it's remotely close. And I've heard this analogy before. Maybe it's a pop analogy. I forget. It's all blended. But the whole analog digital thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that just makes a ton of sense. But we saw what disc, that at least we did. You were talking about a mixtape earlier. Tapes.
Mm-hmm.
We came from that tapes thing. We came from that CD thing. We moved on to the streaming thing. And I'm sure you've noticed because you're an audiophile, but the high fidelity streaming now is really, really freaking good.
Yeah.
So it's like, when I think about high fidelity streaming, I don't think about my tapes back in the day.
No.
So why are we thinking about gold?
Yeah, I think it's just the closest analogy to help people understand it that people lean on.
I'm trying to kill that one right here.
Yeah, no, and like I think about it too. Like when someone asks you, "Oh, what is Bitcoin?" It's like there's so many ways to answer that question.
Yeah.
Where like if you're being lazy, you can say, "Oh, it's like digital gold."
Yeah,
But
that's true.
if you want to get into it, you could say, "Well, what is money?"
Yeah.
And what's the history of money?
It's very hard, man. I was talking to my wife the other day about that, and I was like, one of the harder questions I've ever had to answer is what is Bitcoin?
Yeah.
That's a really tough question to answer.
Yeah.
And not because I don't know anything about it, but because I guess it's one of those I got to talk to you more about it.
Yeah.
Like not you personally, but like the person who's asking. Like I got to know more about you.
Yeah.
Because that's the way I could tell you the philosophy that would work for you.
Yeah.
Because it applies to so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know we like to use like the Disney stock and all that stuff, but that stuff didn't apply to anything. That was just valuable.
Yeah.
This is different. This is like a meaning thing. Like this is something you can carry. This is something. So I don't know. I want to kill that gold analogy. But you're right. I think it's laziness, and I think it's just easy to say. Okay.
I think it depends on the audience too.
I saw my parents on it with gold, and I don't want to say sold because it seems like I sold them on anything. But you know what I mean? Like,
that's what you into.
Yeah, that's the explanation that my dad kind of was like.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, if you're talking to a younger kid, you could, talk in more tech terms.
Sure. And even that, I kind of found this generation likes it simple. I mean, do you listen to the music? It's very dumbed down. Right. So I think this generation likes the easy talk tone. Yeah. But I know what you mean. Younger, the more techie, and you would think.
Yeah.
And then the boomers are definitely the gold analogy, stuff like that, which is cool. One of my favorite Bitcoin personalities is Tina.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he's a boomer.
Yeah.
And I think it's important. We talked about this before, respecting the elders, listening to you. I think it's just very important for some people that have lived through some stuff to be able to tell you about some stuff.
Absolutely.
And I don't know if it's just things move so fast nowadays or whatever, but I don't think Tina get the flowers he deserves for what he does for Bitcoin.
Probably not.
And I think that's weird, but I think it's because it's a lot of it's like watching the Last Chance U. It's kind of like a testosterone filled locker room.
Yeah,
like Bitcoiners.
I saw some posts today
about what?
Just testosterone posts on Twitter.
Yeah, like I think us our age Bitcoiners are just like a big team of testosterone filled dudes, and then the Tinas of the world are like, oh.
Yo, on that testosterone note, they're talking about Bitcoin Miami basketball tournament.
I heard something about that,
bro. If I was there, I'd be on it.
What's the stake? They're probably staking high.
I think the winner probably gets a coin or something. I don't know.
A coin set, yeah. It's
something big. There can't be dudes who are super nice. Like,
you'd be surprised, but yeah.
There might be one or two, but like most of these dudes probably can't fall.
Look at me, man. I'm trash. So yeah. You hit me on the spot side over there.
Catch me down there.
Yeah, hey, that sounds cool though, and I got to speak on that community too. Like for however toxic it seems to be, at least for me, I'm a pleb.
Yeah.
I think it just the Misfits in high school finally found the cool club.
Yeah.
That's better than everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I love it.
Yeah, bro.
I love it. Like, it's not, I don't hear the money thing being thrown around, even though, some of these guys got, it's not like a thing like we different because we got more of this. I don't hear colors being there. Oh, it's because he's black. It's such a cool club of that. The Misfits, like the weirdos that are like, oh man, we can't hang out with the jocks because we're not that. Oh, we can't do that because we're not this. But now we find a clique that's like, oh, we can go in a room and tell Grant Cardone to have fun staying poor and walk away with it.
Facts.
I love the plebs, man. Shout out to the plebs. Shout out to the whole community. It makes tinkering and investing in this stuff so cool.
I was thinking about pleb merch.
Yeah, I've thought about it. I sent my sister, I snapshotted the definition of pleb, and I want to kind of factor it into a shirt or a hat or something. I love plebs, man. I just think finally it's just one of those things because you could move all that to the side and, like you said, we could go play some basketball and look foolish regardless what our net worth is or regardless of whatever. And I found the pleb community to be the most helpful community of all time. As I started to be an entrepreneur a few years ago, I always had to pay for the help that I thought I should get for free.
Yeah.
I always thought I was selfish for that. The Bitcoin community proved to me that I wasn't selfish.
Yeah.
They were trying to get their money, and sometimes they were charlatans, sometimes not. But there is a community that exists that will help you, that will give you the information you need and point you in the right direction because they all understand what we understand. If you win, I win too.
Yeah.
I've never been a part of anything like that. I have, just smaller scale.
Yeah.
But this is different.
This is that on like such a massive scale.
Exactly. This is not neighborhood level. Yeah. This is like, cats all over the world and we unite. And that sounds like a Captain Planet.
No, but just like the posts I see on Twitter are like, it ain't much, but I got my first 500 in Bitcoin. And you'll see a few people like, oh, let me match that for you. Shoot me your wallet.
Plebs are dope.
Like, what?
Plebs are dope.
You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Or
it's just, we all win, and then the cool thing about the space is even the company owners are plebs. Yeah. They're there talking with us. They're cool. Yeah. Like they don't. They're
with Corey from Swan Bitcoin.
Awesome guy. You know awesome team. Yeah. I love what Swan is doing.
Yeah, they're killing it.
A lot of those people, but yeah, like for the most part, Will from Fold out there. He was. I got tagged in some. Did you get tagged in one of those?
No.
We're family branches.
No.
You know those Facebook things where they kind of like make like a family tree.
Yeah.
I ended up on somebody's family tree as the father, and it was Will from Fold, and there was a few other people there. But basically, we had a small conversation. But Will was in the conversation. He was like, having fun with us. Super cool community. The Tinas of the world. American Hodl was really cool to follow. And the news on the society level disappears. Right? Like, it's like, I don't care about that stuff. I never cared about it anyways to begin with. But it was like, before it was like, I don't care about that stuff, but there's nothing else to care about, so now I got to focus on that stuff. Now it's like, I got my focus.
Political news?
Just cultural news, right? Like that whole side, political, that whole, like, what I do this for is, because I'm thinking of the Twitter app. I don't even go to like the trending stuff.
Oh, yeah, not at all.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what's happening anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know. Hey, listen, we missed it in the last episode. Rest in peace, DMX.
Yo.
I shed a tear for DMX. That's rare for people, obviously, I don't know. I had a very hard time in middle school. It's dark and hell is hot, and flesh of my flesh got me through a rough patch.
Yeah, bro.
Never that it was like, I guess that pastor thing, right? Like that person that would just guide you, but also wore his pain. That was one of the harder ones I've had to see. I had to slow down. We didn't say it in the last episode.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, DMX. That was incredibly. I don't even know what my point is because I'm thinking about it again. Yeah. That was pretty hard for me or whatever. But pleb community's great.
Yeah.
Bitcoiners are great. I remember in the last episode, I think it is all blurred together, so I could be wrong, guys. You said that, you were saying that in Ethereum you don't hear anything about like safety and anything like that. I also don't see the Ethereum community bumping like that.
Yeah, no.
I don't see the Hornets, man.
No, I don't.
Like, you could go attack Vitalik right now. Nobody's coming to defend.
Yeah.
Go try to go at Michael Saylor right now so you can see that.
Yeah, Ethereum is still so early. So,
I just don't think they're playing in the same league. And it's cool. I don't watch WNBA either.
Yeah.
It still exists, though.
But why are the WNBA players not paid the way LeBron is, bro?
That's beyond my scope of realm. I know, like, LeBron be booming.
I've been seeing that lately.
Hey, listen.
They don't sell the same amount of merch.
All right, let me ask you something.
They don't sell the same amount of tickets.
Awesome point.
Right, so there's just less revenue there.
But if you were to go play against one of them and they smoked you, would you feel different?
No, it has nothing to do with their physical ability.
It's the income.
Bro, I used to play, I don't know if I told you before, we used to ball up at East Park. And there were like some of the girls who would ball for North. They'd be there shooting around. Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're D'ing them up on a 5-on-5 or even like a 1-on-1. And like you're in front of your boys. There's no Instagram TV, but like you're still going to get... laughed at if this chick crosses you up and taps boards on you or something.
So it's an income thing for you.
So it's to me, it's a pure revenue thing where like they're not selling as many season tickets. They're not selling out their arenas.
Are they being helped?
I don't know.
Because I'm sure the NBA was at that point one day.
I don't think the WNBA will ever. Don't take this the wrong way. Will WNBA like on a revenue perspective do what the NBA has done? I don't think that'll happen. I just think
the NBA had to start somewhere. What made it catch on? Like, does it have to get better at the recruitment level?
Yeah.
Right? Does it have to get better at the at the high school level? Right? Like the girl, right? When does it get more competitive? Because I agree with you. It has nothing to do with the female body or the sex or whatever. But I do agree with you that damn, I don't have money to give you.
Yeah.
Like you're not making any money.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they got to get help somehow. There got to be some sponsor deals, or there got to be better opportunities. They can't be on ESPN Saturday 11 in the morning.
I know.
You see what I'm saying? So, like, I feel you, but are they being assisted?
Is the demand there nationally, even to, like, watch this stuff?
I don't know.
Because if there's no demand nationally, then you can't sell commercials.
Then why is it working to this point? There has to be some type of demand.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know anything about this stuff. My point was that Ethereum will exist, but it can forever be the WNBA.
Yeah.
And I'm perfectly cool with that because I like watching the NBA guys play.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. But it's very early on. Whoever puts it on, you got the pollution arguments for Bitcoin here.
Yeah, a lot of people. I mean, there's just a lot of talk. There's a lot of scare tactic articles that are just like, oh, Bitcoin is boiling the oceans and it's consuming so much power and this that. It's just
a lot of FUD.
It not only is Bitcoin, a lot of Bitcoin is run on renewables, solar, etc. I'm pretty sure turbines and other sources will start powering this.
Yep.
And then they're finding ways to go to like places that develop fuel and gas, and like any gas that will be wasted will be converted to mine Bitcoin.
Yep.
So they'll take their energy extracts that would have been wasted anyways to turn it into money.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's all energy. So they're going to take the energy that they would have wasted. They're going to store it and mine it into Bitcoin, and they'll be able to take that energy and increase their profits and mine and hodl Bitcoin, which is like, it's incredible. So like Bitcoin is actually helping.
This is a stupid FUD.
It's stupid.
It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's good clickbait.
Listen, you've seen the stuff that we throw away.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen the amount of food.
My neighbors still have their Christmas lights on.
You see what I'm saying? Like
it's April.
Just like I've worked in the groceries. The amount of food that's just thrown away, and could please stop telling me that these geeks that are just trying to find clever ways to get more money are harming anything that you're already doing that's trash.
Yeah.
I saw somebody post today that was like, "Oh, listen, we sell for our recyclables to be taken off of our land, and then they just dump them in the ocean wherever they bring them."
Gotcha.
What?
Yeah.
Like, we pay for the service? Like, what kind of service is this? So, that's the dumbest FUD I've ever heard. I've paid no attention to that FUD.
Yeah.
I think it's just a pointless thing to say, to bring up. And I don't think there's any logical evidence that says that it's doing anything bad. So that's very weird. If I can sit here for 4 hours and talk on a laptop with lights on and a whole bunch of stuff, I'm pretty sure a mining rig is not doing any more damage than leaving a TV on overnight is, right? So that's just people trying to get in the way of stuff and give a bunch of FUD and kind of just get people to just question what they're doing and their investment, which seems to be popular nowadays.
Yeah.
So I don't get the pollution arguments. The miners are an incredible community. They're kind of like the agriculture of Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah, they're farming.
Yeah, like they're that type. A lot of them are farmers in a sense, but I think it's that, like, the dudes that grow the pot, not the dudes who sell it.
Yeah.
And it's clean. Once again, it's pot versus tobacco all over again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are we talking about that nasty shit, or are we talking about this clean shit that's happening over here?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the credit they get the credit that they deserve or whatever. That pollution argument is dumb.
Yeah, there's just a lot of dumb articles, stuff like that, and news outlets run with it. They just need a new perspective to cast shade.
I guess it's just, if it makes sense, it doesn't sell any headlines. But that's just why that still works on people. I have no idea. But then again, there's a whole political system that does it every single day.
Absolutely.
So it's very strange that people kind of sheepishly walk around and falling asleep.
Yeah.
But you need to know in order to wake up to these things. Completely different topic, but it just came into my head. And since we're freestyling this episode, Michael Saylor paying his staff in Bitcoin.
Yeah. Board of directors can get
big dogs
in Bitcoin.
Yeah. I ain't mad at it, but
I mean,
ain't no plebs. I'm
pretty sure they have to be offering it to their employees, or they have to be, working on the strategy of how do we do that? Do we team up with Strike or whatever to get
that seems
employees?
to be the winner.
Yeah.
Jack Wallace seems to have it.
Michael's talking about that. His employees are talking about it.
I want to know how that works because, well, not how it works because I know how they can do it. My question is it more of a tax advantage thing? Like, how does it work? Because how does it make it any different than me just converting my fiat?
Yeah.
Like, I'm assuming if I work, I mean, I know this is the board of directors, so it's not your average employee. But I'm assuming if a company pays their employee in Bitcoin and they work, they're going to have a regular check before it becomes Bitcoin, meaning that they have to get taxed by the IRS. They're going to have to do all these regulations and do that. Yeah. And then afterwards, all they're doing is just turning it into Bitcoin. I can do that. I do that.
Yeah.
So, like,
I think it just removes the need for you to do it.
It's not
and
they
do it for you.
It's not hard to do that.
Yeah, you're right. It's not.
Well, it's not that I'm not with it. Like when when these announcements come out that they're taking half their fee, that's fantastic. But I'm not excited like other people are, where it's like, ooh, they're getting straight Bitcoin. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not getting straight Bitcoin. It's getting converted somewhere.
Yeah. Nobody
has the ability or enough Bitcoin that I know of that's willing to not hodl it to say, hey, whenever you work for me, I'm just going to hand it out.
I mean, Sailor has how many coins?
Not to hand out. That's all Treasury Reserve asset, right?
Yeah, it is Treasury Reserve
asset.
Yeah,
they're not leaking that stuff, dude. And then definitely not to give it to no damn employees or board. So what they would do is they would buy the Bitcoin for the employee with their check. But once again, why are people getting excited thinking that people are getting legit Bitcoin? I don't think that's happening yet. And then I was listening to somebody talk about taxes earlier, and they were like, look, I still report my Bitcoin purchases to the IRS, as everybody should. This is not financial advice. This is just a conversation I was listening to. And he was basically saying, but what I do is basically I pay my friends for dinner and stuff in Bitcoin. So he was like, what I do is I basically buy it on the spot, send it to them on the spot. So there's no gains there. It's immediate, right? They never hodl Bitcoin, right? Even in their hot wallet, they never keep Bitcoin for a little bit and then pay their friends that way. They turn cash into Bitcoin. They send that Bitcoin right away.
To cold storage or to their friend?
No, to their friend. Gotcha. Like they're paying their friend in Bitcoin.
Gotcha.
And that's the reason, because you don't want to be getting these tax gains or whatever and have to pay the difference and then have to report it, and then it becomes a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I don't think anybody's just paying straight up Bitcoin, especially if they're hodling, because then they're going to have to take that burden of tax.
Gotcha.
Unless the party receiving it doesn't cash it out. But then that would be a lot of pressure to say, you're getting paid in this, never cash it out, right?
Yeah.
Like, so nobody's getting straight up paid. Even with Lightning involved in Strike, I think it's just they have a bank or they have a system that just basically says, oh yeah, we'll do the conversion for you.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get to the point where it's legit. Like, I have this much Bitcoin, and it's probably happened in a lower scale some point sometime. But I have Bitcoin that I've been holding for a while, and I'm going to give you whatever your price is in Bitcoin. I don't think that's happening yet.
Yeah.
Not with these NBA players and not with these companies. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, would it help MicroStrategies in a tax situation if they're giving away their Bitcoin and not having to pay the dollars?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's a very weird one to me. I don't know. I think they would just have to sign their guys up a strike and have them do it.
It's probably going to be something like that.
Yeah, but it just weirds me out, because when you read the comments, a lot of people are more on the like, oh, right, like they're getting paid in the best money in the world. And it's like, they're getting paid in US dollars and they're doing what you and I are doing and it's swapping it.
Yeah.
But I could be wrong. Jack Maulers, come on the show.
Yeah,
we talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
That stuff. But speaking of strike, once again, we're just freestyling episodes. I talked to you about this when we were together last time at the get together. Jack Maulers is the man. Mm-hmm. He's changing the world. A lot of companies are doing big things out here, but he's doing bigger things or more meaningful things, I guess is the important part. But I've been using his Strike app because I guess him personally as a person loves Moon, the service. Pay with Moon, I believe. This isn't an ad. It's just me freestyling something. So Moon allows you to make virtual cards, Visa cards, so that you can shop online anonymously. They make up a card number. They make up a CVS number, whatever.
That's fire.
Yeah, so Jack Maulers loves that so much that my buddy told me back in like early December, he started doing this 5% off anytime you use it on the Moon. And then he just decided to say, hey, I like this so much.
I'm going to just roll with it.
We're just going to keep it like until I decide to get sick of it, I guess. And it's been going. So you can get Moon, you can get Strike. We'll leave links below. Guys, hit the links. You can support the show that way. I believe the new Strike link, you get $5, we get $5, that type of deal. But what Strike does is you connect it to your debit card like you do with Cash App. Say you're checking out on Amazon and it's $70. You got to make a virtual card. Go to Strike, load up the $70 from your debit card, pull up a Lightning invoice on Moon, scan it with your phone. Boom, you have a virtual card. You automatically get 5% deducted. You could do whatever. You could buy sats. That's what I've been doing with that. Or you could just put it back in your bank or hold it for your next transaction and stack it that way, whatever you want. You could do a triple stack, I call it, which is where you attach Lolly and then you check out with that way. And then you could get those type of deals going on. Either way, check out Strike. Good stuff going on. And what Jack Maulers was able to do before everybody else is turn your money into Lightning immediately on the fly.
Yeah.
And this stuff happens fast. Like that whole little checkout with the 2 apps that I was just walking you guys through, once you do it a few times, it literally takes like 30 seconds. It's a no-brainer to do. Check it out. Awesome app. Strike reminds me of Cash App a lot, but in a different way.
Yeah.
In a crypto version of Cash App. I hate that. That sounds so corny.
Yeah. No, it makes sense though.
Yeah, they mastered the Lightning layer. Fold, I think, is another company that's mastered the Lightning layer. These guys were doing Lightning very early on, and they were doing it well. And now they're just like the gems of the Lightning squad. If you think about it, they're very polished. Also, since we're talking about Lightning, we might as well give you guys the information. We got to give you guys this, it's kind of new, but this podcast is supported by the Podcast Index, which is Adam Curry and his company. They basically allow you guys to stream Satoshis to us. So if you are kind of crypto friendly and understand the space, go get a Breez Wallet. Go get Sphinx Chat. Go get Pod Nation, I believe. I can leave some links. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Ben. We'll get you some links. And you guys don't have to give YouTube any type of ad money. And you just listen to us. You feel you like the stuff, the value that we're giving you. You could hit us up with some sats, 5 sats, whatever you guys feel you're getting out of it. It's an awesome thing that's happening. But I was thinking about it before we recorded. Yeah. If we don't tell you guys, you don't know about it.
Yeah, for sure.
So just wanted to let you guys know that Lightning is doing really good things. Those companies are doing good things. Check out Strike. We'll have a link for that down below.
Yep.
Pay with Moon. I don't think they have a link, but if we got one, we'll put it. I literally think it's paywithmoon.com.
Yeah.
But we'll put a link for that. I just got to remember it's episode 16. And it's really cool, guys. Reach out to me if you want like a step-by-step on how to do it.
Yep. You should turn that into a video.
That just shut off. But it doesn't even... it's all good, bro. Yeah. It doesn't even require video. We can do a video, but it doesn't really require video. You literally just scan the QR code and keep it rolling. But yeah, reach out to me if you guys want that information. Reach out to Ben. If you want to make a video, go for it. It's really easy, guys. It sounds complicated. It doesn't. Sign up for Strike very fast. You get 5. We get 5. And then you could use that 5 right away online on any Visa transaction and get 5% back of that purchase.
No brainer.
Super cool. Yeah, easy way to stack sats. We're all about stacking sats here. Remember, you don't need to buy the whole Bitcoin. You just got to buy pieces of it. And if you know about any high score game, the points add up. Just keep adding up those points. You get to that 100 mil.
Absolutely.
You get to that Bitcoin. You get to sovereignty. You get to freedom. That's what we're all about here. So,
how many Bitcoins does it take to retire?
That's a you question. Before we even started, I was telling you I don't even think past next week. So yeah, what do you tell me the answer to that?
I mean, traditionally you want to have like at least 2-3 million to get 100 grand a year.
And with inflation, that's probably worse now.
Right. Yeah.
Probably like 7 mil.
Yeah. So, I mean, well, the numbers will go up, but the purchasing power goes down. So yeah, you'll eventually need more and more. I think it'd be the same thing with Bitcoin, where like you need at least $1 million worth. It depends on how much you're going to spend.
$1 million Bitcoin or just the value of
dollars?
Yeah. I was like, jeez.
No,
listen, you will be Satoshi himself.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah, but I wouldn't know that number. It also depends on your way of living, right? Too. Like
quality of life, what you're spending every year.
Exactly. So, if you live on the broke, or you like to travel on the...
If you're in a third world country that's, it takes 10 grand to live there, then that's one thing. If you live in America, you need...
Yeah. Oh, you're going to get the straight on taxes in America.
Exactly.
Right off the bat, just for having house property, just for having a car, just for... and the more north you go, the worse it gets. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, let me see if we got anything here. We just freestyled this episode, man. It was still great. So you thinking 71 after Coinbase? That's what's big this week.
A 10 grand bump would be great. We're due for some kind of movement. We're either going to get rejected and go back down to 55, or we're going to see a number we haven't seen before. And
it's going to be funny.
And then there's probably going to be some big retail FOMO, and we're going to see some big purchases.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Big companies.
You said it a few times, but I did see a few more droplings, I like to call them, of the Walmart thing, the Walmart purchase.
I keep seeing that. So.
Yeah, the last I saw is they were, they were trying to... start like some type of crypto company. So it wasn't even to like put Bitcoin inside of their stores. It was just to do like a different venture. Yeah. But they were the ones that I guess bought the Bitcoin. Yeah, supposedly. I don't know if that's true, but damn, I wouldn't be surprised if while we've been recording, all this news is coming out. Yeah. Tomorrow in the morning. This news every freaking day. Last week, I think I was telling my wife, I was like, the price when it was like stuck 57, 58 or whatever, I was like, this price is misleading because all the headlines are just nuts. Like. So, and then I hear a lot of like the guys we follow that we respect, the Preston Pictures of the world, kind of saying like this snake is just coiling up. That's what it's doing, and when it coils up, it's gonna kaboom.
Right.
So yeah, interesting to watch. But I sound like the weirdo because I'm pumped about this stuff. So I go to work and talk to people that have done what they're doing now for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
And they don't care about this tool. They don't care about this asset. Similar like me, they're only thinking about what's in front of them and not next week. But this stuff is fun, man.
Absolutely.
This show wouldn't even exist without it. Fun stuff, man.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in terms of like innovation, imagine like being able to own a part of steel. Like when when the steel industry was booming.
Oh yeah,
like it turned into this whole new thing. Like New York City was created upwards because of that. You know what I'm saying? So true. Like not that we've never, but this is a way for the average pleb, the average person, to have a hand in this new technology age of money and value. So it's awesome, man.
And a lot of different spectrums too. So it's like I don't. Another weird question that I couldn't answer. The first one, what is Bitcoin? But the second weird question that I can answer is, when are you going to spend your Bitcoin?
Never.
Yeah, I know, like in theory, but then like you get you get into the conversation where it's like, well, what are you gonna? Why are you getting in this thing? Like, when are you gonna enjoy it? Life is also finite, right? Life is also a scarce asset. So it's like, so at what time do you enjoy this? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what's to come. I just know that this is an opportunity to swing the pendulum.
Absolutely.
And if I'm wrong, I'm going to be wrong hard.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell some people who think that I'm like trying to give them fool's gold. Is like, you don't even understand. Like we talk about $20 for you. Like if I'm wrong, it's going to be hard, bro.
Yeah. 6 figures. 6 figures.
It's going to be really hard to bounce back. Like that's how it is. So like, don't put your $20 in it, but you got nothing to lose. I have a ton to lose. So this is really cool stuff, man. I got nothing else for the people. Yep, we got episode 16 in the books. Guys, please rate, share, and subscribe. That's how we continue to have these conversations. That's how we know that you guys are messing with it. Send us some questions, topics you want us to cover. We can do that. You can find our information in the show notes. Lightning Network. If you got Breez Wallet, if you got Sphinx Chat, just check out podindex.com. You'll see the apps that are eligible. You can support us that way, so you don't have to sit through YouTube ads, or you don't have to sit through, well, I don't even think we have any Anchor ads, thankfully. But so you don't have to deal with that monotony, guys, and you guys can let us know how much you care about us. We appreciate you guys as always. Ben, you got anything?
That's all.
Awesome. We'll catch you guys next week. Take care.
Peace.